Lack of clarity is one of the biggest killers. Lack of clarity is one of the biggest killers in a lot of agent relationships with their clients. And I just witnessed it this past week. I want to share with you what I watched happen from the trenches so that you can recognize this language pattern, this behavior in yourself, and hopefully avoid it. And it's all about just being incredibly clear versus having a little bit of guts, right, to say what you're supposed to say, but then quickly backing off and moving off your position, moving off of what's right, and following the client down some, down whatever rabbit trail they lead you through. So here's what happened. There's times when, and if you've ever found yourself in this position, right, there's times when you say, like, gosh, well, I told the seller that it wouldn't sell for more than X. But now they seem to have forgotten about what I said, and they're like almost telling me that I said a different number, but I didn't say it, and I have to either argue with them about it, which wouldn't be right, or I have to go and contradict them, which wouldn't be right, or I have to just play along like if it's really what I said, and that wouldn't be right either because it's not what I said, and I'm in this crap situation, and the seller's pissed off, they don't like the price they're getting, they don't like anything. Okay, here's what happens. A conversation that happened in our office. Agent, and I know this is how it went down exactly, okay, because then I questioned the agent on this. He said, yeah, it's exactly what happened. And agent says, they're at the home looking at it, and he goes, hey, I think that the property, I'll just use different numbers so you don't even know what property I'm talking about in case you're in my market. I think that the property should be listed for $1 million based on the data. Okay, cool. $1 million. Client, gosh, really? Well, we're hoping for $1,050,000, $1,001,000, and especially with how little inventory there is, can't we get a little bit more for the property? Agent. Oh, well, yeah, I mean, maybe with, who you never know. I guess you could possibly, I think it should be $1 million, but I think that, possibly it could be $1,050,000, maybe $1,001,000, especially with our big listing program and all that. We could try it and see what happens. Let's go and give it a try. Okay. Now fast forward to when offers are coming in and they're not $1,050,000, they're not $1,001,000. In fact, they might even be like $980,000, $990,000. And agent's telling me, man, I told him it should be $1 million. Meanwhile, the seller's saying, you guys told me $1,050,000, $1,001,000. And here's what's happening. If you don't have extremely clear language with your clients, okay, if you don't, and I'll give you the dialogue that I would go through as an agent to make it crystal clear. But that wishy-washy language, all the seller's hearing is you can get me $1,050,000 to $1,001,000. That's all they're hearing. Your suggestion of listing it for $1 million, gone. It doesn't exist anymore. It's history. So it's this weird kind of scenario where the seller's saying the truth. They're saying the truth of what they remember because you talked about and gave them hope around the $1,050,000, $1,001,000, and the agent's saying the truth because, hey, well, they did suggest $1 million. Okay. Here's how I would approach that same scenario, and then you don't have this problem anymore. And most of the problems in real estate really have to do with the expectations we set and the clarity that we speak with. So what I would be saying to this particular seller is, based on all the data, my suggested price is $1 million, okay? Up to that point, the other agent did the same thing. Now, when the client says, well, how about $1,050,000, $1,001,000, then it's really important that you use language along these lines. You don't have to use these exact words, but you have to be this clear. Well, based on what I see, my suggested price and what I would do for myself is absolutely at $1 million. There's not a lot of data that would support anything else. I understand that there's some market conditions where you feel you could push there. But again, I want to be very crystal clear that this is the price that I'm suggesting is $1 million. If it were my home or say my, mother-in-law's home, that's the price that I would be listing the home at. Now, if you really want to go and chase the $1,050,000 or the $1,001,000 and go give that a chance, I can go down that path with you. Now that I've articulated to you what price I believe, right? So that's my responsibility. I have to professionally tell you what I believe, which is that $1 million number. Now that I've put that out there, if you want to go, I'll fight for you. I'll see what I can do. We'll see if we can get more. And if we can't get it by, say, 10 days from now, then I really would suggest that we return to the number that I'm suggesting. Okay? And I'm not doing the world's best job right now of role-playing with you, but the point being is I'm making it very clear what I would do for myself, very clear that that's my suggested number, very clear that the data supports my number, and very clear that I'll go and fight for them. Of course I will. I'll go down the path with them, which I am a believer you want to take the listing. but you want to take the listing with absolute clarity. And so there's a difference between speaking that way versus just putting your number out real quick. They give you a different number and you're like, oh yeah, we can, well, you never know, we can go and try to get that. That's very different than, if you want me to go fight for that, I can, and I will, but there's no guarantee of what will happen. The data shows us this. I would list it here if it were mine. My recommendation is this. And now that I've put that out there, which is my professional responsibility to do so, if you want to try that for the next 10 days or so, let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so anyway, put that into your own words. But it's the clarity that I want to make sure that and the line is so thin, right, between those two. The line is not very heavy. It's just a little bit, that extra emphasis, it prevents a ridiculous amount of heartache down the road if they don't end up getting their wish number. And I'm hoping that you're going to join us on May 5th, by the way. And, I was thinking about this and talking to somebody and just thinking, thank you, first of all, to all of you that have invited people to the group to enjoy May 5th, the Sales Masters event. I mean, this is like a, shred of 1% of what we're going to get on Friday, May 5th, all day long, 16 of the world's best speakers, producers, agents, practitioners that are going to give you exactly what they use, the strategies, the tactics. But inviting people in also creates accountability for yourself. It makes you that much more invested in making sure that you are, retaining the information. So we'd love to help you. We'd love your help in growing the audience for these amazing speakers who have donated their time for your benefit. And I look forward to seeing you on May 5th. And make sure you put this into practice. If you're a solo agent, role play that with yourself, period. And have it comes down to fear, right? It comes down to so many other things too, which we'll talk about May 5th, like the pipeline behind you of business that you could be getting. And so when you don't have a big pipeline, all of a sudden you start having wimpy conversations versus strong conversations. When you have a pipeline, you are more willing to hold an integrity with what you believe that you should be saying to this particular home seller or the buyer in other dialogues. So I hope that's useful for you. Put it in play. And by the way, if you've ever experienced that, either on the good side or bad side of it, I'd love to hear about it in the comments.